Revealed, how a billionaire CEO's heartwarming love for his maid transformed their lives forever. In the affluent suburbs of Westwood, where manicured lawns glimmered under endless sunshine, Jack Reynolds lived a life that sparkled on the surface. A self-made billionaire at just 42, he had it all: a sprawling mansion, luxury cars lined up like trophies, and the kind of tech company that made headlines. But beneath the glitz and glamour lay a stark truth: Jack was profoundly lonely. Days filled with meetings and gala events yielded hollow smiles that echoed in the silence of his grand home. The laughter of friends was drowned out by the emptiness that came with his empire. Maria, a 30-year-old maid with hard-working hands, juggled 2 jobs just to keep her family afloat. With her husband deployed in the military, days stretched into years of toil and exhaustion. Each night, she returned to her tiny apartment, her 2 young children waiting for her with bright eyes. The struggle was real, and the weight of it was heavy. In the quiet, she buried dreams of a better life, submerging her sorrows for the sake of her kids. Their worlds collided on a sunny Tuesday morning when Jack, bleary-eyed from a late-night board meeting, stumbled into his kitchen to find Maria scrubbing his marble countertops. Her presence was a stark contrast to the sleek perfection of his life. Their first exchange was awkward but honest, and from that moment, the fabric of their lives began to weave together in unexpected ways. Maria would share quick, humble meals with Jack, exchanging laughter over simple dishes that brought warmth back into his sterile mansion. She noticed his tired eyes, and in her own way, offered small doses of kindness, reminders to breathe, to smile, to live a little. Jack gave back in ways he never expected, surprising Maria with school supplies for her children and gas money when she struggled to get to her second job. Each interaction chipped away at social barriers, revealing a friendship layered with respect and genuine care. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue, but as their bond deepened, the threat of Jack's company collapsing loomed larger. News of impending layoffs spread, and anxiety pooled in his gut. He felt a sense of duty to his employees' families, like Maria's, depending on him. He sought her insight, real stories from the community that had been his blind spot until now. Their late-night conversations heated up, challenging everything he thought he knew about success and wealth. As Maria's past unveiled painful truths, Jack found himself enthralled by her resilience. His world and her world shared too many similar dreams but were separated by an unforgiving divide. Just when everything seemed to align, whispers of betrayal began to touch his life, people doubting his decisions, expecting him to bow down to the pressures of his status. Those whispers threatened their bond and his newfound perspective. With the crisis nearing, Jack stood at a crossroads. The widening wealth gap he had ignored for so long demanded reckoning. Would he step into the light for Maria and the rest of the hardworking class, or sink back into the shadows of privilege? His heart raced as possibilities unraveled around him, leaving one haunting question: could their friendship endure the struggles that lay ahead, or would betrayal forever alter their lives and dreams? Jack paced his expansive living room, feeling the dread knotting in his stomach. The walls felt like they were closing in, adorned with awards and accolades that now seemed like hollow accomplishments. His thoughts drifted to Maria, her unwavering spirit shining like a beacon in his life. He wouldn't allow her to suffer because of his company's issues or the shaky loyalty of those around him. In the days that followed, he poured himself into work, trying to craft solutions that would save jobs. His team, however, was filled with suspicion and skepticism. Jack found it challenging to focus, especially when Maria's laughter echoed in his mind, grounding him amidst chaos. She had become not just a part of his daily routine but the very heart of his newfound purpose. On Friday, Jack invited her to a local community center where they could meet some of the families he hoped to support. He believed understanding their challenges firsthand could inspire him. They drove together, the late afternoon sun casting a warm glow through the windows. Maria filled the space with stories of her neighborhood, the struggles many faced, and the dreams that danced just out of reach. As they parked, Jack couldn't shake the feeling of entering a world he had long overlooked. They walked through the darkened hallways, which came alive with voices and laughter as they approached a community event. He could feel Maria's energy blending into the vibrant atmosphere. She smiled brightly, the sparkle in her eyes lighting up his heart. Inside, children ran wildly, laughter bouncing off the walls. Families gathered at tables adorned with homemade dishes. Jack observed the depth of the connection these individuals shared, each smile a badge of resilience. In that moment, he realized how blessed he was to have Maria as a part of his life. She didn't just clean his home, she cleaned the cobwebs that clouded his heart. Later, they settled at a table laden with food, sharing plates and stories. Jack noticed fingers pointing in their direction, whispers dancing in the air. Some faces were curious, some intrigued. Maria looked a bit nervous as she sensed people taking note of their growing closeness. "Just ignore them," Jack reassured. "They have no idea who we really are." But Maria frowned, her brows knitted. "It's hard not to care. I've felt the eyes before. People don't see beyond the surface." At that moment, a child from the crowd approached them, her hair in two pigtails and a big smile. "Are you two best friends?" she asked, eyes gleaming with innocence. Jack exchanged a glance with Maria. It was a simple question, but it brought warmth to Jack's chest. "I think so," he replied honestly, causing Maria to blush slightly. As they helped the child with her food choices, Jack's heart swelled. But looming clouds of uncertainty still hung over him. Would he be able to protect what they had built against the betrayals threatening his empire? That night, as they drove back, a sudden urgency filled him. Jack knew he had to act. A plan formed in his mind, a bold initiative to confront the issues facing his company and the community he had seen for the first time. "Maria," he began tentatively. "How would you feel about being more involved in the company? I want to hear your ideas." Her eyes widened, surprise washing over her features. "Me? In your company?" "Absolutely," Jack said, determination lining his voice. "You know this world in a way I don't. Together, we can make a real difference." Uncertainty flickered in Maria's expression, but it was quickly overtaken by hope. "But what if it doesn't work?" Jack met her gaze. "What if it does?" As they drove into the night, both felt the weight of dreams shifting. A new storm was brewing, a challenge that could either forge a path to redemption or shatter everything they were building. Jack tightened his grip on the steering wheel, heart pounding with the thrill of uncertainty. Would they dare to step into the unknown together? The sun peeked through Jack's bedroom window the next morning, casting a soft glow that hinted at a fresh start. He rolled over, thoughts swirling as the conversation from the night before replayed in his mind. The idea of Maria stepping into a role at the company felt as thrilling as it was terrifying. Could they really turn the tide together? "Jack, are you ready?" Maria's voice echoed from the kitchen, pulling him from his thoughts. The scent of fresh coffee wafted through the air, something he had come to associate with comfort and home. "Just about." He called back, taking a moment to smooth out the wrinkles in his shirt. Today held promise, and he wanted to look the part. As he walked downstairs, Maria had an apron tied around her waist. She looked up as he entered, her smile bright enough to light up the room. "Coffee's ready. I thought we might discuss your plans over breakfast." Jack's heart danced as he poured himself a cup, the steam curling into the air. They settled at the table, filled with home-cooked goodness. But beneath the laughter and the clatter of dishes lay an underlying tension. They both understood that this conversation could change everything. "So tell me more," Maria urged, her eyes shimmering with curiosity. He took a deep breath, choosing his words carefully. "I've been thinking about how to revamp the company's community outreach. We need to create a bridge between our business and the people we aim to help. You know what they go through. What would resonate with them?" Maria bit into her toast, contemplating. We could host workshops, teach skills that are in demand, maybe even provide scholarships, she suggested, her eyes lighting up. Jack nodded, feeling a surge of admiration. She saw the potential that was so easily overlooked. Exactly. We can also use our resources to create a mentorship program. People need hope, Maria, and we can give that to them. As they brainstormed, he admired how easily she came alive with ideas. Her passion fueled him, igniting the spark he'd lost amidst corporate pressures. It was as if they were building a dream together, layer by layer, but the reality of their world soon crept back. Jack's phone buzzed against the table, a harsh reminder of the challenges awaiting him. He glanced at the screen, his stomach sinking as his assistant's name flashed. "Everything okay?" Maria asked, her brow creasing with concern. "Yeah, just some work stuff. I'll have to take care of it later," he replied, attempting to minimize the effect of that relentless world. A flicker of understanding passed between them. They knew the fight ahead would be tough. After breakfast, as they cleaned up together, Jack felt a shift in the air. He turned to Maria, eyes steady. "Do you ever think about what it means for us? How we'll navigate this?" Maria paused, drying her hands on a dish towel. "I think we just have to focus on what drives us. If that means facing judgment or challenges, then so be it." A sense of resolve enveloped them both. They were ready to face whatever would come next. But would their vision hold strong against the inevitable obstacles? Just then, Jack's phone buzzed again. His heart raced. A message from one of his executives. He opened it, the words glaring back, heavy with implications. "Jack, we need to talk. There's an opportunity, but it involves some risky decisions." Jack's breath caught in his throat. What kind of risk? And would it threaten the very thing he was trying to build with Maria? He couldn't help but wonder if this was the moment where everything he envisioned could either come crashing down or take off. As they stood silent in the kitchen, each grappling with the magnitude of what lay ahead, Jack realized the real battle was only just beginning. Would they dare to walk the fine line between ambition and integrity? The day was just starting, yet the stakes felt monumental. What decision would he make that could change everything? Jack stood still, the message weighing heavy in his hand, the glow of the morning feeling distant. Did he dare to entertain this opportunity? The thrill of it mingled with anxiety, setting his heart racing in a way that felt simultaneously exciting and overwhelming. Maria noticed his silence and stepped closer, worry etched across her features. "Jack. What's wrong?" He looked up, meeting her gaze. It's about work. A potential opportunity for the company, but he hesitated, the thoughts wrestling in his mind as he searched for clarity. "It involves decisions I'm not sure I'm ready to face. Decisions that might compromise what we're trying to build." "What do you mean?" Maria's voice was steady, encouraging. He sighed, knowing he could trust her with the truth. "It could mean going after more lucrative contracts that don't align with our values. If we follow this path, we might gain fast profits, but at what cost? I don't want to throw away the trust and vision we just started to create together," he confessed, her eyes softened, understanding flickering in the depths. "You have to follow your heart, Jack. This isn't just business. It's about lives, people's lives, and I know how much you care." He felt the familiar rush of affection at her words. She had the remarkable ability to see the best in him, to ground him when everything felt chaotic. But what if taking this risk sets us on a course that threatens everything we discussed? Then we adapt. And we keep focusing on what truly matters, not just money, but the impact we can have, Maria assured him. Her words felt like a lifeline, anchoring him amidst the storm of doubts. As he stood there, that familiar fire he thought he'd lost flamed back to life. With Maria beside him, he realized they were a team of force against any challenge that lay ahead. He nodded slowly, resolve setting in. "Okay. Let's think this through together," he said, a newfound determination in his voice. "What's the first step?" Maria's smile returned, brightening the room as hope flickered between them. Let us research the contracts. See how we can adjust our approach without sacrificing our values. And if it doesn't feel right, we walk away. Our integrity comes first. They dove into planning, ideas bouncing back and forth as they shared visions of what the company could become. With every conversation and every shared laugh, Jack felt their bond deepen. It was more than business, it was about a future they could mold together, fueled by purpose. Later, as they worked through the numbers and outcomes, Jack's phone buzzed once more, breaking their concentration. It was another message, and this one wasn't from his assistant. He opened it slowly, the words etched in concern. "Jack, we need your decision soon. There are others waiting. Don't let the opportunity slip away." The message left him feeling trapped. Pressure swelled around him, squeezing joy from the moment. His heart raced as he exchanged glances with Maria. The thought of failing them both loomed over him. Maria leaned closer, a gentle hand resting on his shoulder. "What's the matter?" "They want an answer fast. But I don't want to rush this. I need to consider all angles for us." Her fingers tightened slightly, a reassuring gesture. "Then let us decide tonight. We'll outline everything we want and make sure it's a decision we can stand by." "Right," he breathed, feeling the weight of the world slowly lift. They were in this together, and that connection gave him strength. As the afternoon turned to evening, Jack realized the most profound risks weren't just about contracts or profits but about choices that defined who they were. What would they really choose to be? With a new resolve, Jack wrapped up their planning. He needed clarity, but he also needed to trust in their shared vision. "Tomorrow, we'll map it out," he said, his voice finding its confidence. "We'll make a plan that reflects both of us." As they finished for the day, Maria leaned in, a beautiful sparkle in her eyes. "I believe in us, Jack. No matter what happens next, we can handle it." But what if the path they chose didn't align with everything they hoped for? Would their commitment withstand the tests ahead? Jack couldn't shake the feeling that the biggest choices were yet to come. Jack awoke the next morning to the sound of rain tapping gently against the window. Each drop echoed the tide of thoughts swirling in his mind. Sleep had eluded him, the weight of the decision pressing down like a heavy blanket. He glanced over at Maria, curled up in the corner of the couch, the soft light framing her face. A warmth filled him, a reminder of the steadfast bond they shared. That he silently moved to brew coffee, the familiar hum of the machine bringing some comfort. Jack was grateful for moments like this, mundane, yet together. But as the coffee brewed, the anxiety returned. The looming deadline still sat like a boulder on his chest. After pouring 2 steaming mugs, he eased himself into the chair across from Maria. He watched her for a moment, admiring the way the slight furrow in her brow softened in her sleep. Would she understand the storm brewing inside him? He hoped that soon they could meet the challenges ahead as partners with resolve. "Morning," she mumbled, stretching and blinking awake. The warmth of her smile made everything else fade momentarily. "Morning. How did you sleep?" he asked, trying to mask his inner turmoil with casual conversation. "I had this dream about us taking the company to new heights." "It was incredible," she replied, her eyes lighting up with the memory. "We were on a stage, talking to so many people, it felt so real." A smile crept onto Jack's face, the idea of their small startup growing into something impactful igniting a flicker of hope. "What if we make part of that dream come true today?" he suggested, her gaze sharpened as she focused on him. "You've been thinking about it, haven't you? The contracts, I mean." "Yeah, I have. And truthfully, I'm scared," he admitted, feeling the rush of honesty. "What if we choose wrong? What if it threatens the vision of this company, what we started together?" Maria set her coffee down, her expression serious. "Then we have to set clear boundaries. We need to be honest about our priorities and not let the allure of quick money sway us." Jack took a deep breath. Maria's confidence steadied him, grounding him in what mattered most. "You're right. We need to write down all our values, the things we want to compromise on. They spent the next hour crafting their manifesto. The words flowed freely as they shared stories about the vision they both had, the dream of creating a company that could uplift lives while staying true to their ethics. But, as they wrote, Jack's phone buzzed once more, shattering the moment. He picked it up, his heart plummeting as he read the message. "Time's running out, Jack. We really need to know your answer." "Another reminder," he sighed, allowing frustration to seep into his voice. "Everyone is waiting. It feels like pressure is building by the second." Maria reached over, placing her hand firmly on his. "Look, sometimes moments like these can feel overwhelming. It's okay to take a step back. Let us not forget why we started. Our choices should reflect who we are, not just where we want to get." He nodded, her words echoing the realization he needed to hear. They didn't just have a chance at success, they had a chance to redefine it. As they continued discussing their values, Jack felt the first hints of clarity form within the chaos. Together, they would navigate the storm. But in the back of his mind, doubt lingered. Could they truly steer their company down a path that aligned with their vision? With every word spoken, every mutual promise solidified, Jack could feel their commitment to each other deepening. Yet the ticking clock was relentless. Just as he began to formulate a decision, another message lit up his phone screen. "Jack, we can't wait much longer. We have to know. What are you thinking?" Maria asked, sensing the shift in him. His heart raced. "I don't want to let go of our integrity. But what happens if we miss this opportunity?" It was a fork in the road, and his next move could alter everything. Would he follow his heart, or yield to the pressure? With uncertainty wrapping him like a fog, Jack glanced at Maria, searching her eyes for reassurance. Would their united front hold as strong as he hoped? The moment of truth was drawing near. How would he choose? Jack's heart pounded in his chest as he read the last message again. The weight of the words pressed down harder, like a relentless storm cloud overhead. He could feel the tremors of doubt pulsing through him, as the paths before him twisted and turned like a maze. Was he ready to take that leap? Maria's hand squeezed his, the warmth grounding him against the rising tide of panic. "Jack, let's step back for a moment." Her voice was steady, a contrast to the tempest roiling within him. "Let us break this down." He nodded, taking a deep breath to quell the whirlwind of thoughts. "Okay," he replied, still unsure. "What if we make a list of our top priorities? What do we want this company to stand for?" "Exactly. Let us root ourselves in what matters," she encouraged, pulling out a notepad and pen. "We want to provide value and stay true to our ethics. That's non-negotiable." Jack felt a surge of inspiration. They began to jot down their core principles, each bullet point feeling like a lifeline. It was easier than he expected to articulate their vision, fueled by passion and shared dreams. "We want to build a team that feels like family, one that encourages innovation and creativity," he added, gaining momentum. "And we've got to be socially responsible. We can't just chase profit," Maria remarked, her eyes shining with conviction. Jack watched her with admiration, her unwavering belief allowing him to push past the chaos filling his mind. Suddenly, their list was more than just a collection of ideas, it became a manifesto, a declaration of who they were destined to be. Just then, the phone buzzed again, a sudden reminder of the urgency pressing on them. Jack glanced at the message and grimaced. "They're persistent. Do we respond?" Maria asked, the weight of the decision heavy between them. It felt as though the room shrank around them, the far corners fading away until only they remained, cocooned in their resolve. Jack looked back at her, searching for the answer. "What does it say about us if we let fear dictate our choices?" "Exactly," she said, leaning forward, her eyes fierce. "This is our moment to choose who we want to be. No shortcuts, no compromises. Just the truth of our vision." Jack felt the fog lift slightly, the passion reigniting his spirit. "We owe it to ourselves to be brave. The words flowed freely now, gaining strength. Even if it means losing this opportunity, we won't lose ourselves. I'm with you, Maria affirmed, smiling as if she could see the horizon unfolding before them. But even as optimism blossomed, Jack felt the shadow of uncertainty lurk just outside their circle of light. While they debated the merits of responding, Jack's phone vibrated once more. The message read, "You're making a mistake. This deal won't come back around." That simple sentence sent a jolt through him, igniting a fresh wave of anxiety. He felt cornered. What if they're right? He murmured, his mind briefly overwhelmed once again. Maria's eyes locked onto his, unwavering. That's just noise. The decision we make today defines us more than any contract ever could. He could see the challenge in her gaze, urging him to choose integrity over fleeting success. Slowly, he brightened, realizing the truth they had crafted together. "So, here we go?" he asked hesitantly. Maria nodded, her belief radiating warmth. "Together. We can't forget that. Whatever comes next." As they prepared to type a response, the weight of the moment hung in the air. Jack's fingers hovered above the keyboard, anticipation and fear mingling around him. Would they emerge from this stronger, or would doubt unravel their dreams? When he hit send, it felt monumental. The phone inched dangerously into the silence, as if the world held its breath. Just before he could breathe out a sigh of relief, another notification flashed across the screen. "I wouldn't answer that if I were you. Your future is at stake here." Jack's heart raced anew. Questions filled his mind like a swarm of bees. Who was behind this? And could their vision truly withstand the mounting pressure? With Maria at his side, he grasped the clay promises they had shaped together, but the road ahead remained shadowy. They had taken a stand, but would it be enough to keep their hopes alive? Jack's pulse thrummed in his ears, drowning out the noise of the world around him. Had he really just sent that message? He glanced at Maria, who was now staring at the screen with an intensity that began to consume her expressions. "What if we made a huge mistake?" he whispered, though he wished he could take the words back. Her gaze softened as she turned to him, her voice barely above a murmur. "Then we'll own it. We'll figure it out together. That's what partnerships are about, right?" He nodded, trying to quell the unease swirling in his chest. He watched as she bit her lip, wrestling her own fears even while she passively projected strength. "Let us focus on what we can control, Jack. Our ideas still stand. We've built something real here, a strong foundation," she encouraged, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. For a moment, he felt suspended in time. How many people could say they were fighting together like this? How many felt supported enough to allow fear to surface? Jack felt a warmth in his heart for Maria. She had this remarkable ability to light a path even in the darkest moments. A sudden ping from the phone jolted them both back to reality. They glanced at the screen in unison. Another message. This one was different, more personal, less threatening. "I know you're struggling. Just remember, the world is watching." Jack frowned. Who is this person? Why do they care? "I don't know," Maria replied, shaking her head. "But that feels like a warning, not a suggestion. Maybe we're on their radar now. There's no going back." The air thickened with tension. Jack ran a hand through his hair, the weight of their actions pressing down harder. "It's like we're being toyed with. How do we fight an unseen opponent?" "By knowing what we stand for," Maria answered firmly, her voice steady like a hammer striking the anvil. "Let us not lose sight of that. Everything else is noise." Jack took a deep, steadying breath. "You're right. It's just words. And words can't shake our vision. I won't let them." The resoluteness in his voice had an electric effect. Maria's smile returned, igniting something in him he thought had dimmed. They were facing the storm together. But a nagging thought fluttered in the back of his mind. What if they were too hopeful? As the minutes ticked by in uncomfortable silence, Jack felt the need to act. Maybe we need to prepare for the fallout. If they're watching, they might retaliate. We should have a plan. Absolutely, Maria said, her expression shifting to that of determination. Let us brainstorm ways to strengthen our position. We need options if they try to undermine us. Jack grabbed the notepad again, feeling a jolt of clarity. What if we put together a presentation of our mission and values? We can share it publicly, no more hiding. We draw the line in the sand. Maria's eyes widened, excitement sparking between them. Yes. A manifesto, something that showcases our intentions, our beliefs. It becomes our shield. Their hearts raced with the shared thrill of a new path. Jack could almost feel the energy shift as they began to jot down ideas, drawing from the core values they had discussed earlier. This idea felt right. They were no longer simply standing. They were moving forward, ready to face whatever came next. Just as they settled into their momentum, the phone buzzed again. Jack hesitated. What now? Let us see, Maria said, scooping up the phone. The message flickered on the screen was both chilling and intriguing. I admire your courage. But remember, it's not just about your vision, it's also about the cost. Are you ready to pay? His heart dropped. The stakes were raising, and with each step forward, they felt every pull of uncertainty tighten around them. Were they prepared to face the consequences? Jack swallowed hard, glancing at Maria. Her brow furrowed, and although there was a flicker of doubt in her gaze, her determination prevailed. Before he could respond, Jack's phone buzzed wildly again, this time, a call. The number was unfamiliar. Everything in him urged him to ignore it. But what if it was important? Do I answer? He asked, his voice shaky. Maria's breath caught in her throat. Only if you're ready to find out the truth. He hesitated, hand trembling over the screen. What awaited them on the other side of that call? Would it bring clarity or chaos? With a deep breath, he pressed the green button. The world blurred around him as he raised the phone to his ear, the weight of the moment wrapping around him like a vice. And just like that, whatever awaited them next was about to change everything. The phone crackled to life, and Jack's heart raced as he heard a voice on the other end. Jack. It's Liam. He felt a swirl of emotions. Liam's voice was both familiar and foreign. They hadn't spoken in months, not since their fateful last meeting. What do you want? Jack replied, trying to sound tough, but the edge in his voice betrayed his anxiety. I know about your recent decision, Liam said, and Jack could almost feel that smug, knowing smile through the phone. I think it's a bold move, but are you ready for what's coming next? Jack clenched his teeth, and Maria leaned closer, her eyes wide with concern. She could sense the tension crackling between them. What do you mean? Jack asked, his voice strict. I admire your courage, Liam continued, but in this world, courage can come at a cost. You've stirred the pot, my friend. People don't like what you're doing. And they'll come for you. With that, fear swept through Jack like wildfire. He was stepping into unknown territory, and the thought of potential retaliation sent chills up his spine. He exchanged glances with Maria, who looked more resolute than afraid. Is this some kind of threat? Jack demanded, feeling the protective instincts kick in. You're not making any sense. Not a threat, just a warning, Liam replied casually, as if discussing the weather. You're making waves. Just don't forget to watch your back. You may think this is a partnership, but loyalty is fickle in our game. With those words, the line went dead. Jack stared at the phone, his muscles tense. What the hell was that? He breathed, feeling an overwhelming sense of betrayal simmering beneath the surface. Maria reached out, her fingers brushing against his arm for comfort. It's okay. Liam isn't everything. We have our vision and our mission, we can't let his words shake us. But Jack felt shaken. He wanted to be brave, to project strength. But doubt gnawed at him. What if Maria was right? What if they were too optimistic about the potential consequences? This wasn't just about them anymore. With every bold move they made, they were walking a tightrope over an abyss. I can't shake his words, Jack admitted quietly, his voice trembling. What if he's right? What if we're not strong enough to withstand the pushback? Maria shifted closer, her brow furrowing. If we back down now, we lose everything we've built. This is where our true character shows. We owe it to ourselves to stand our ground. We can't be afraid of shadows. Her conviction wrapped around him, easing some of the weight in his chest. Uncertainty turned into resolve as he took a deep breath. So we push forward. We stay the course. Absolutely, she nodded, confidence radiating from her. Let us finish that manifesto. Let us draft every reason we believe in this project. We need to remind ourselves what we're fighting for. As they began to write again, the words flowed like a river, carrying their hopes and dreams. Jack realized the energy between them was palpable, almost electric. They were igniting a fire together, one that could either burn bright or go up in flames. Just as they reached the crux of their ideas, the phone buzzed yet again. This time, it was a message notification. Jack felt a mix of anticipation and dread. Maria's eyes narrowed at the screen. Maybe it's the confirmation we need, she whispered. Jack picked up the phone, his heart racing, and read the words on the screen. We have information. Meet me at the cafe on Maple. The message held a promise of clarity. Would this lead them closer to understanding the shadows that lurked around them? Jack looked at Maria, and the unspoken question hung in the air. Should they dive deeper into this tangled world, or would they find themselves in over their heads? Ready or not, he said with apprehension, it looks like we have to go. The cafe on Maple was bustling, the sound of laughter and chattering voices mingling with the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Jack pushed through the door, Maria close behind, a knot of anxiety tightening in his stomach. This wasn't just a meeting, it felt like stepping into the lioness den that he scanned the room, searching for any sign of the informant. His eyes landed on a figure sitting in the corner, a man in a well-fitted navy suit, his face partially obscured by the brim of a dark hat. Jack felt a flicker of recognition but pushed it away. He might have seen that face before, but where? Over there, Maria whispered, tugging his sleeve gently, her own expression a mix of curiosity and concern. As they approached, Jack's heart raced. The man looked up, and Jack could see sharp features and piercing blue eyes that gleamed with something he couldn't quite place. As they reached the table, the man gestured to the empty seats. Jack, Maria. I appreciate you coming on short notice. I'm Aiden, he said smoothly, his voice calm but with an undercurrent of urgency. We need to talk about what's happening. Jack nodded, still wary. What do you know? Aiden leaned forward, lowering his voice. Everything. Liam isn't just playing games, he is serious about making you pay for your decisions. He isn't the only one who feels threatened. Others are circling. If you don't act fast, you'll find yourself backed into a corner. Maria frowned, glancing at Jack, who felt the warmth of her hand softly squeezing his. Why are you telling us this? Jack asked, suspicion creeping in. What's in it for you? Aiden smirked, a flicker of amusement crossing his face. I believe in what you're trying to achieve. But you need allies. I can help connect you with those who want to see change, but there's a catch. Go on, Jack urged, his mind racing. You need to be willing to expose everything. Liam's weaknesses, his connections. He has built a network that's strong enough to retaliate if they feel you threaten their interests. But that means putting yourselves in danger. You'll need to make a choice, stand your ground or go quiet. Exposing him could ruin lives. It's not just a game, Jack protested. He felt the weight of responsibility. What if they stirred up more than they intended? Maria turned to him, her expression resolute. But it's also a chance to turn the tide. We could rally others who feel the same. It may be risky, but it's worth it if it can lead to real change. Jack breathed deeply, feeling the familiar tension coil in his chest. He thought about Liam's warning, how it lingered like a shadow. Was it better to fight back or stay hidden in the darkness? Time is of the essence, Aiden interrupted, bringing him back. They won't wait. Whether you act or not, the pressure will only build. I'm offering you a lifeline here. But you need to decide. Jack exchanged a glance with Maria. They were on the precipice, standing together on a tightrope. Could they take this leap of faith? Let us move forward, he declared, the decision already solidifying within him. We'll expose Liam and anyone else who stands in our way. Good, Aiden said, leaning back, an approving glint in his eye. But just remember, this path isn't without danger. You have to be prepared for the fallout. As they left the cafe, Jack felt both exhilarated and terrified. This was the beginning of something, a chance to reclaim their power. But the potential for chaos loomed like a storm cloud overhead. What now? Maria asked, her eyes sparkling with determination. We gather evidence, reach out to others. We'll show them we're not afraid, Jack replied, his voice steadier than he felt. This fight is just starting. As they walked away, Jack felt the weight of both hope and dread pressing in. Could they truly rally the support they needed, or would they find themselves isolated against a tidal wave of opposition? And lurking in the shadows, Jack sensed a deeper threat, one that could upend everything they had fought for. Who else would rise against them, ready to strike when they least expected it? The air buzzed with anticipation as Jack and Maria laid the groundwork for their revolution, a quiet determination igniting their spirits. Together, they began reaching out to allies, those who felt the sting of exploitation and understood the importance of integrity over profit. Their vision transformed into a network, ideas flourished as they collaborated with community leaders and activists. What started as a personal mission evolved into a collective dream, driven by hope and the shared desire for change. Weeks passed swiftly, a whirlwind of meetings, rallies, and brainstorming sessions. Jack watched as Maria flourished in her pivotal role. She took charge of workshops, teaching families practical skills and offering mentorship. The spark in her eyes reflected the impact they were making, and Jack felt a surge of pride in her resilience. As they worked tirelessly side by side, he couldn't help but notice how their bond deepened. They weren't just fighting together against a corrupt system, they were building a family, but shadows loomed, unsettling the atmosphere. Whispers of Liam's retaliation followed them like a shadow, warning against their bold venture. In the quiet moments, doubt crept in, gnawing at Jack's resolve. Was he pushing too hard? Would their dream crumble against the weight of Liam's ruthless empire? He often caught himself staring into space, shaken by the gravity of his decisions. One evening, as they wrapped up a particularly rewarding community event, Jack overheard a few murmurs, toast glass raised in celebration. There they were, families laughing together, young ones playing with newfound tools, and a warmth enveloped him, washing away the unease, at least for now. Yet, the night felt heavy. Jack lay awake, staring at the ceiling, reflecting on their journey. What if they had miscalculated? The stakes were high, but the joy from each success encouraged him to hold on a little longer. And then there was Maria, her laughter, her spirit, a gentle nudge that always reminded him of the boundaries they were challenging for a brighter vision. Just as he began to shift into hopeful thoughts, his phone buzzed, a message flashing with urgency. Jack, we need to meet. It's about Liam. Jack's heart raced. He glanced at Maria, still in slumber, peaceful and serene. He had made a promise to protect her, but this felt imperative. With a heavy heart, he slipped out of bed and replied, arranging their meeting for the coming night. When he arrived, it was Aiden seated across a small, dimly lit cafe table. Jack. We can't stand still any longer. A tense energy thrummed in the air. Liam is plotting something, and it seems personal. I figured as much, Jack replied, his voice low. But we're ready to face him. We have the community standing with us. Aiden nodded, clearly not satisfied. That may be true, but Liam isn't just going to play fair. Rumors are swirling that he is tightening his grip and using his connections to retaliate against anyone who raises their voice. Fear pricked Jack's heart. What if those he fought for would be caught in the crossfire? He shook his head to dispel the thoughts. We can't let that discourage us. We need to stay focused. As their conversation continued, Jack felt the weight of certainty rise. If we have to confront Liam, we lean into this, he said, fist tightening. We don't back down. The day approached when he and Maria would face their greatest challenge yet, addressing a crowd of supporters, telling their story, presenting the manifesto for their movement, clarifying what they stood for, and drawing that line in the sand. As he and Maria stood backstage, hearts pounding with anticipation, Jack stole a glance at her. She was radiant, nerves dancing in her eyes. No matter what happens out there, I believe in us, she whispered, squeezing his hand. With a deep breath, he nodded. They stepped out together, the lights bright, hundreds of faces waiting, curiosity, skepticism, and hope mingling in the air. Jack's heart raced, but steadied by the warmth of Maria's presence, he proclaimed their vision. Emphasizing a future where integrity and community intertwined. People don't just want to survive, they want to thrive, he shouted, his voice echoing in the arena. Let us forge a path that works for all of us, together. The audience erupted in cheers, each clap resonating like a heartbeat of a vibrant community forging ahead. Days later, news outlets picked up their story. Jack received a flurry of messages, family, friends, even former critics expressing support. Things seemed to shift, and with every bit of momentum gained, the fear of Liam's retaliation began to wane, but then the inevitable occurred. That evening, news broke that Liam had targeted one of the community centers they had worked so hard to uplift. Jack felt his stomach drop. A sense of urgency fueled his actions. This was the moment to rally the positive energy around him that he called a meeting with Maria and their closest allies. We can't back down. This will only strengthen us. Let us unite the community, take back what is ours, he declared fervently. With a shared sense of purpose, they planned an event at the very center that Liam had chosen to attack. They needed strength in numbers, and showing solidarity was crucial. The day of the event dawned bright, the sun illuminating a sea of people gathered around. Jack watched as families, children, neighbors, and even those who once doubted them joined in the solidarity circle. He spotted Maria weaving in and out of the crowd, her spirit infectious as she engaged everyone around her, urging the energies of hope and fight to rise. When he took the stage that evening, the roar of voices filled his heart with courage. This is not just about us or our organization, he said, raising his hands to quiet the crowd. This is a stand, an unwavering stand against oppression and for every voice deserving to be heard. He felt their unity, pulsating through the air like an electric current. This was a moment of clarity, of boldness, of togetherness. A pathway illuminated, shining bright against the obscurity they once felt. Later, as night blanketed the stage, Jack glanced at Maria, who was celebrating amidst them, her laughter ringing free. He stepped off the stage, finding her amongst the illuminated faces. We did it, he whispered, feeling his heartbeat sync with the crowd's joy. Tears filled her eyes as she smiled back, pure joy radiating from her. No, we're doing it. Together. A new chapter blossomed from the ashes of their concerns, a transformation that turned struggles into triumphs, fears into grit. At that moment, they stood not just as an ally to change, but as pioneers of a vision rooted in the idea that true wealth lies in community, love, and resilience, and together, hand in hand, they would continue the fight, carving a brighter path for all. Now, this is the moment to make your voice heard. You need to subscribe now to never miss out on exclusive stories like these. Leave a like now to support our shared journey and feed the algorithm that helps us bring these inspirational moments to life. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this empowering transformation, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this journey. Only true fans understand how important your support is.